This is Nagarajan. Welcome to QA Coding Expertise channel. Today we are going to see about creating bugs in Jira. I'm just opening up Atlassian account. Okay, this is the URL. So I'm going here. I'm just logging with my Gmail account. It is now taking us to the Atlassian page. Here you could see QA automation, right? This is a project that I created earlier. I'm just clicking on it. It will take us to the issues page where you could see there are two issues which I created earlier, right? So if you want to create a new project, you can go ahead and click on this projects and you can click create project button. It will open up the different page where you could see software. Under the software development, you could see different categories here: Kanban, Scrum, bug tracking. You can select based on the category which you wanted to create a project. You can select this and you can create it. Right now we had already created, right? So I don't want to create it again. So let me close this. Now I'll show you how to create bugs in Jira. Okay, this is a create button. I'm just clicking on it. Now you can see this is the project type, right? So QA automation is project name. Under this you have issue type. You can see here there are different categories: improvement, task, new feature, and epic. For that we are right now we are going to create a bug. So I'm putting bug. I'm selecting bug itself. Okay, let's put some summary here. Product price shows incorrect. So this is like a sample bug that I'm creating here. So I'm creating my own summary here. Product price shows incorrect. So this is a summary field which acts as a mandatory field here. Apart from this, other fields are optional. So we'll go ahead and create the bug now. So I'm clicking this create button. You can see here. Now the issue got created. QA AUT 163. It's been successfully created. When I refresh the page, right, you could see that new bug gets created here. Since under these issues, you can see this bugs, and you can also click reported by me. When you click on this particular thing, and you can see the different issues are being created here. Okay, I'm clicking on all issues, and you can change the status of it. I'm changing it done. When I go to open issues, you'll be seeing only one ticket here because like we have marked the other two bugs as done. All right, so this is about creating bugs in Jira. So manually we have created it, right? So using Selenium automation framework, I'll try to show you how we create these bugs and how we will verify those bugs uh, using Selenium. So let's see. Let's move on to Eclipse. So if I open up the Eclipse now, you could see the left pane, right? You could see the automation test from framework. So before we get into this framework, right, I would like to highlight few things. So if you want to create any Selenium framework or any other framework, you should have some flavors of programming. So basically, if I want to create a Selenium automation framework, I should tell you that you should have some flavors of Java, TestNG, and Selenium. So with that knowledge, right, you can play around with the automation framework. So without that, it's slightly difficult to understand few things. So let me touch upon a few basic things on Java, TestNG, and Selenium. It's where you could be able to understand those things. Okay, so let's begin. So this is the automation test framework, right? So this is a Mavenized framework that I've created using Java with the TestNG combination. In this, you can see here in the left pane, right? So here Src main Java. So these are called the source folders: Src main Java, Src main resources, test resources. So I'll go with the one by one, wherein you will be able to understand why it is written, why we have created this. Okay. So under this Src main Java, we have a package called codetech.qa.automation libs.common. Okay, this is a package. Under this package, we have different Java files. So these are the files which are mainly required to drive our test. So that is why we have created these files inside this particular common package. These are all the common files, meaning we have created some common methods inside this particular Java files, so that are required for us to drive our test. Okay, so that's about that. And you could see here another package called QA automation.libs.create issue page. So here you could see we've created method library and object library. So method library for create issue page, it contains some common methods that are being used for create issue page, and the object library which contains all the elements, web elements of that particular page. So that is why we have created page method library and object library. So don't worry, like we'll be covering in detail. Okay. Now I'm going into the Src main resources where you could see extend config.xml file, right? This is the file, it's a configuration file which are used for extend report configuration. So you could see when I open it, you could see the configurations, right? So you can see here theme, dark theme, and standard. You could see. So, using extend reports, we can generate test reports. So if I want to change the theme of it, you can configure the theme like this. And you can give mention your protocol, document title, automation test report is the document title that being displayed over the test report, and the report name, date format, time format. These are all the basic configuration details for a test report. So that talks about that. And you could see in that another one is log4j dot properties. So these are all the properties, that log4j properties, which help us to uh, create some logs. So we have a rolling file appender and we have console file appender, which using rolling file appender we can log our message file. We can create our logs inside a file. Using console appender, we can create our logs inside the console, system console, I could say. So here, I'm saying inside this console. Okay, so that's about log4j dot properties. Moving on to Src test Java, where you could see here there are two packages I've created here. Create issue test.create issue page and test.search issue page. Under this particular package, we have different Java files, test Java files, right? So this is going to perform our actual test on any web pages. Okay, so we'll be covering this one by one. Yeah, and I'm moving on to Src test resources, where you could see here, right? We have different files here. Files in a sense like chrome driver.exe. It's one of the uh, exe file, right? So which helps to invoke a Chrome browser, and config.properties. So this is one of a file which help us to pass a staging page URL, test data kind of things that are required for a test. And create config.properties. Here we'll place our credential information inside this particular file, and we can use it inside our test. And Gcode driver is a driver file which are mainly required to invoke our Firefox browser. And test data is Excel file which drives our test with the help of test data. All right. Okay. Now I'm moving on to Src system Java. It contains the library files for respect to Java and the JDK. And you could see here, right, Maven dependency. These are all the jar files are being generated with the help of pom.xml. Don't worry, I'll be covering that. And TestNG is a unit testing, the testing framework that we are using for Selenium automation framework. Okay, and test output is a file folder which gets created using TestNG once the test execution is complete automatically. So it provides our test report. It The TestNG automatically provides their own default report, but in our Selenium framework we have used extend reports to generate a fancy customizable test report that I'll be covering it later. And you can see in the test reports, right? Inside this particular test folder, we'll be getting the test automation test report using external reports. And we have here a pom.xml files. So this is the files which contains about details about the project and the configuration details. I don't want to deep dive into everything. Let's talk at a high level. Okay, so these are all the dependency files, right? Selenium, TestNG, JavaX, whatever the jobs that you are required for our framework, right? We can mention the dependencies here, and once the dependencies are placed here, when you save this file, right, automatically the jar files are getting downloaded and saved inside this particular Maven dependencies. Okay, so that's about the pom.xml file. Okay, and we'll see testng.xml file. So here we could see there is system info.log, right? So this is the file. So this main this file which will give you the logs using sl4 log4j, right? So log4j dot properties, right? So this we have used here. You can see the log4j, right? So it logs all that logs using this file. And testsuite.xml, this is the file which helps us to trigger the test suite. So it triggers the TestNG execution engine. Okay, where I'll talk about this thing detailing. So it starts with XML tag and doc type. It goes with the suite name, right? And the parameters names here. It contains a test, and under this test you have classes, different classes. That's it. So this particular file, right? So you could see here, these are all the different class names. Create issue. In the left pane you could see the create issue page test to part 1, right? So this is the file I've mentioned here. And search issue test page, this is the file. The second package you could see this file, right? So these are all the files that is going to get triggered when I run this particular testng.xml file. When I trigger this one, automatically it does that execution. Okay, let me show you, and we'll talk about this particular create issue page coding part later. I just wanted to show you the execution of it. Okay, let's see how it does when I run it. Now it is opening up the Atlassian page, right? And then it is entering the username and password, and it is again trying to enter the username and password. So there is bug in some Atlassian account, so which is why we are entering the username and password 2 times. Now it is taking us to the respective project page, where you could see QA automation project that I created. It just clicked on it. It is entering into this page, issues page, and it is clicked create button. It is now trying to create a issue. It has successfully created an issue. It has refreshed the page. Now the issues that it has created, right, is trying to validate the issue. We have done with that validation part of it. Right now you could see the test execution is completed, right? So here you could see that, right? When I refresh this page, right, you could see the new file is being created here, test report. Let me open up that file for you so that you'll see that fancy test report. All right, I'm trying to open up using HTML document. Okay, so these are all the tests that we have written for. So this is one test. It is trying to invoke the Atlassian account page, and it does that, and then it enters logs into that issue summary page, and one bug is being created here. Broken issue got created, and it searches for the issues that it created, and the issue found successfully. So this is the report or being generated using extent reports, where you can see here different charts also available here. So these are all being generated with the help of extent reports. We don't need to do some creative stuffs on it. So the default generation is like this. Okay. Okay. Let's. I think we are very happy to see this fancy report. I hope. Okay. Let me move on to this particular create issue test page. So what we have written and why how it is creating and executing those tests. Okay. So this is the first Java file that we have part one Java file I've written here. I've created two different declarations here. So one is for log4j and another one for JavaScript executor. Okay. So so these are the private declarations here, and it takes the before test annotation. This is a TestNG annotation. I've created a method invoke Atlassian account page. Okay, so here we could see it starts with report.start test. So this is the line which invokes the test extent report to start. Mainly it started here. Okay, and it is trying to invoke that particular URL. So URL is coming from another file. I'll talk about these files later. Mm, so this is the variable in which we are fetching that particular URL. Now it is trying to open up a page and it is maximizing the window. We have used implicit wait. It waits for page gets loaded for an interval of 10 seconds, and it deletes all the cookies in case if it is any. And we have used logger.info, right? So this helps us to log the information here, whatever the logs, right? So it helps us to sense out the logs. I was talking about the console log, right? So those information will be logged out here, right? So here we have covered about inside this particular things. We try to invoke the page and put the logs here. In case if there are any exceptions, right? That will be those informations will be caught and using the logger, right? We can see that exact failures. And the test.log also you can the test.log which prints the failures in our test report as well. So you would see this is test, right? So this is the initialization of it, of the extent report. So using this particular test, I'm trying to log that particular failures. We are explicitly failing this particular test assert true fail false. If I don't put this particular things, right, so the text will get executed, but the test will never be failed. So that is why I'm in case if there are any failures, I'm explicitly failing it. With that, I'm completing the report at end test, right? So we have invoked up a page. Let's move on to a test priority 0. So it starts with priority 0 means it will execute first. We have two different tests: verify issue summary page, and another one is verify new user creation page. So new issue creation. So okay, it is like as we did it earlier, right? It starts with user logs into the issue summary page, and it is entering username and password. We are entering username and password two times since there is some bug inside the Atlassian account. So that which is why that is the reason, right? So we have entered two times, and we are clicking on it. We are proceeding into that particular page. We are clicking on a particular project, and we have entered into the issue summary page. With that, we are completing it, and then we are moving into another test where we create a bug. Okay, we have hitting the create button and creating the pop-up, and we are entering our bug description over there, and then we are trying to create a bug here. Okay, so here I used JavaScript executor. I had used this one is like in order to avoid the element not interactable exception. So these part things, right, we'll be covering detailedly. Don't worry about that. And I have also used thread.sleep. So this makes us to wait the system for 2 seconds to avoid any unable to locate element exceptions. So I've used thread.sleep, but in upcoming videos, right, we'll try to replace thread.sleep with ex- explicit waits. All right. So this is about our first part one file. Hope it clears the test execution run and the code. Don't worry, I'll be covering this part with part two, part three, part four, part five. We'll do different sorts of framework updations on each test files here. Okay, so we have covered about part one, right, and search issue page. So this is the file which searches for that particular issue which was created, and it tries to find that particular issue, and then it makes an assertion. So that is why that's what we have written here. Okay, I think that you have understood about Selenium test creation and execution. Uh, we'll see more in detail in the next session. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.